So we are learning more every day about the audacious cyber attack on the U.S. government. It appears that hackers accessed Treasury Department systems and gained access to dozens of email accounts. Democratic Senator Ron Wyden revealed details of the hack after being briefed as a ranking member of the Senate Finance Committee. Now, Wyden said that it's unclear just what exactly hackers stole, but there is concern that they made away with highly sensitive economic intelligence. So for more on this, we're joined by CBS and technology reporter Dan Patterson. Dan, this is huge, and you can't help but to feel really uneasy when you hear just how long the hackers had been sort of rooting around in Treasury Department computers. What more do we know about this particular hack? Senator Wyden said that the hackers breached the email system by manipulating the emails. How did they do that?
Good morning, Anne-Marie. So this story is evolving or metastasizing pretty rapidly. So what we learned is from that statement that keystrokes or keys were being manipulated. Look, there's not a lot of forensic evidence that we, the public or journalists, can examine. But when I hear something like that, this tells me a keylogger or an application that would copy your keystrokes, which of course would include usernames, passwords, and other very sensitive data. We know that there were a number of, or at least two routes in, which is one of the things that we learned yesterday, and that communications and sensitive email at Treasury were being monitored for quite a while. And of course, this is important for a number of reasons, maybe first and foremost, because Treasury has the ability to move markets. So you kind of scale out from there and take a look at all of the other large corporations, government agencies, and contractors that have similar potential to change the world economy or even worse scenario. So this is a pretty rapidly evolving and dangerous cyber attack.
So in the coverage of this, different names started popping up. We heard FireEye, we heard SolarWinds. Explain to us the connection between this big wave of cyber attacks and the hacking of FireEye, which was reported earlier this month.
Yeah, so that's critically important to understand, Anne-Marie. Kind of under the surface, below what we see, are these currents that are connected to each other. And one of those very strong currents, forgive the metaphor, is a Russian hacking group called Cozy Bear, who is suspected of also attacking FireEye. That was disclosed at the beginning of December. FireEye is one of the world's largest, most credible cybersecurity agencies. So when their tools are purloined, it is concerning on a level that we might also, as an analog, look at tools that are swiped from places like the NSA. When we saw Eternal Blue, which was an NSA tool that was stolen, we saw a wave of ransomware spread across the world. Now, this is a very different type of attack. Yes, they did. Cozy Bear was apparently able to take some of these offensive tools from FireEye. But this other attack at Treasury and elsewhere was more like espionage, like they were listening and hearing on a broad scale. So you combine those two together, offensive tools plus a great deal of intelligence, and you get a potentially devastating, or you apply devastating potential to an adversary.
The CEO of FireEye, he was on Face of the Nation Sunday, and really attempted to sort of downplay the scope of the hack. I want to play a little bit of what he said.
Everybody says this is potentially the biggest intrusion in our history. The reality is the blast radius for this, I kind of explain it with a funnel. It's true that over 300,000 companies use SolarWinds, but you come down from that total number down to about 18,000 or so companies that actually had the backdoor or malicious code on the network. And then you come down to the next part. It's probably only about 50 organizations or companies, somewhere in that zone, that's genuinely impacted by the threat actor.
Okay, so that was, his response, and it certainly seems logical to me, but I also wonder, do we know what we don't know? If you get what I'm saying, that, you know, as more information is unfolding and more information is revealed, I mean, how do we know that the hack isn't more pervasive than what he's saying? Is that a convincing argument?
Look, I understand the desire of FireEye and else others to kind of contextualize and maybe downplay the severity of some of these attacks. But look, we've learned a lot just since Sunday, and it is challenging to kind of look at the scale of something where we don't really know the outer edges of it and to say, well, it really wasn't that bad. Maybe 50 companies were affected or 50 organizations. You know, some of those 50 organizations could be very critical. And let's not discount those organizations that are at the edge. Although the focus of this has been on critical government systems, every other business that was affected still has to make major changes. They probably have to invest quite a bit of time, money, and energy in terms of changing their business protocols. So I understand, once again, FireEye's desire to minimize or downplay the scope of this attack. But I think for everyone affected, this is going to be, the repercussions of this are going to be significant for a long time.
Dan, thank you so much. I know people are looking for more on the nuts and bolts of what happened, and you have a great article. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
Good to see you.
So listen, if you're interested in reading Dan's article about what we know and don't know about the suspected Russian hack, head to cbsnews.com.